Okay, what's up, everyone? I watched Frozen Planet not long ago. It's very cool. That's not a pun. Right, that's an unintentional pun, I should say. Yeah, I really liked it. I like these. Just the visuals are awesome. It's really is kind of scary that because they spend a lot of time on, I guess, animals in particular. It's about life. It's not just about. I mean, they talk about the land itself or the ice and the water and what happens, but mostly animals. That it's just how things happen. Like it's just brutal, predators attacking obviously prey, and just the trade-off. Like if the predator doesn't find any food, they starve, which is pretty brutal, including their little babies, the cubs. And there's a lot of parts where it's just like, it's like a polar bear will have, there'll be a mother and she'll have two cubs, and then a little later there will only be one cub. It's like, oh, the other one didn't make it, or something like that, and it's like, oh man. And you don't know the details. There's cases where there's penguins, and for example, if one of the little baby penguins gets lost or its mother dies or something, the other female penguins, or even maybe males, they'll compete to try to be like, I'll adopt you, and it can actually end up being quite rough and violent, and the little kid can end up getting killed. It's not funny at all. It's like awful. They could get crushed, or like it's brutal. And yeah, when the predator does succeed, that is this terrifying thing of seeing this bigger animal just come out, pluck a smaller animal, bite it by the neck or something, and just it struggles a little, and it's over, and then it gets eaten, and then that feeds the predator for like maybe a week, maybe a few days. It depends. Some of the little animals, I think there was like an owl or some kind of little bird or little creature, and it eats tens or even hundreds of this other animal. It's just crazy. Anyway, it's very interesting. The way it's filmed is really good, and the way it's explained I generally like. Although I guess Richard Attenborough, I don't know, he's a part of. Oh, sorry, David Attenborough is a part of it. It just feels like a cliche though. Maybe he's just associated with it. This older voice explaining in a British accent. I don't know, it just feels like it could be a bit fresher, or a bit, maybe a bit more precise. I actually would like more detail. Like I feel like, for example, when they show all the clips, I wish they would show me where exactly on Earth it is, like on a map. Just as a little thing, it could be in the corner every now and then, just showing, okay, not constantly, but like, okay, we're looking at these penguins, they're in this area. This is where it was shot. Or if we're looking at this polar bear or this other thing that's happening, just show where it is, like rather than just saying in words, show it. A little pet peeve is some of the time-lapse photography, which is really cool, really interesting, and you see some crazy things like the glacial things actually sliding over time. It's so slow that you cannot see it, but when they do like video over there, or take lots of photos over the course of days or weeks or months or whatever, or hours at least, you can actually see it flowing, and it's otherworldly. It's crazy. But they use sound effects sometimes, and I just think, like, just because we're seeing a time lapse of ice crystals forming or something doesn't mean you need to have sound effects of, it's just, there's, like, don't just make up the sounds. Like, it's so annoying. It's like any movie where they pull out a sword, it's always shing, even though in many cases it's not gonna make that noise. Or if you're just seeing a knife or a sword, it'll be like shing. It's like it's just you holding it. It just feels like this bad cliche. It's annoying that this documentary series does that as well. Just show the time-lapse photography. Have some music. There shouldn't be any sound unless it's recorded. Don't make up the sound. It's just annoying. I also personally would like even a bit more scientific detail. Like, they do give details, but really break it down. Like, exactly, I'm really curious, like, how many species of penguins are there, and how many species of other animals, and roughly how many of them exist. Like, just current estimates, and be specific to the time. If it was made in, I don't know, 2011 or something, I'm not sure. Whatever year, or maybe earlier than that, just sort of mention that. Another little pet peeve, I really don't like when they reuse footage. I think try to have every episode different. I don't like compilation episodes that sort of thing. Just like I don't like best of albums. What I would do is have your main episodes that explore different aspects, like the seasons, for example. And then when you want to make your first episode or your last or something that's an overall thing, use different footage. By all means, use things that are similar. If you've done penguins or a certain group of penguins, show some more footage of penguins, but make it a different shot. Ones that you haven't used show, I'm sure they've got heaps of footage. So that's just a pet peeve. I think it happens a little bit where they reuse the exact same shots for certain parts, or they re-explain certain things a little bit, and also maybe a little bit. Some of it, I guess, tries to be tasteful, but it just seems to cut away at times where there's something kind of interesting. Some of the predatory behaviors are insane. I think maybe it's the killer whales. They work together and they swim, and then they do like a thing right near ice to create a wave to knock off a seal. It's brutal. And just the thing that's scaring me, the more I learn about real life, and it's just how calm things are. How like casual and calm things could be. It's just some fish. It's whatever. I guess whales. I guess killer whales would be mammals, creating these waves. The seal gets knocked off, and then it's gonna get eaten alive. Potentially. It's just how quietly and softly and calmly it can seem to happen, or the way an animal could get chased by. There was a bigger animal, and there's a bunch of either killer whales or other animals near it, sort of eating it over time or biting it and weakening it before they can eventually drag it underwater in some way or something. And it's just like, it's so horrible, but if you wouldn't necessarily know what was happening. Just this fine line between complete boredom and mundane life, just sitting around and just like going and eating some little thing or standing around doing nothing, and getting eaten and getting killed by a predator that you didn't see coming. There was a documentary in it as well about global warming, which I want to learn more about. I still feel skeptical about all of the details, but they seem to really at least focus on the facts. And for example, I feel like I understand now Antarctica, which is huge. I think it's like got kilometers worth of ice, like that much thickness. That's how thick the ice is, like several kilometers thick, maybe 5 kilometers thick, and it's bigger than Australia, or similar in size to Australia and other big continents. So you could imagine if all of that melted, which is possible, that could cover the Earth, but it's like with quite a lot of water, maybe 50 meters, I think they said, which could have major effects. But they also acknowledge there can be positive and negative effects. And also, like, you should always be aware, like, there are natural cycles. Things are always going to melt and freeze each year. But the question is the balance shifting? And it's very confusing because in the 70s, people were talking about, I think, an impending ice age. And even we're in an interglacial, meaning there have been ice ages in the past and we're in between ice ages. So is there going to be another ice age? Is it really a huge disaster with our global warming? I find it weird because so what if it just prevents another ice age? Wouldn't that be a good thing? We only have a certain amount of coal and oil and all of that. That could be its own issue, that it's going to run out. But once it runs out, we're not going to be able to keep pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere necessarily. Not easily anyway. So it seems like a problem that's temporary. It's very good that as humans we're becoming aware of it. I want to learn more about a carbon tax, whether that achieves what it's meant to achieve. It's nice to just say, oh, we need to stop using it, but energy is energy. And if I feel like nuclear energy would be a good thing to go with, because people seem to be apprehensive, scared of using nuclear energy, when it's actually, I think, much safer and more effective than people realize, especially compared to like the other forms that we currently use and have, and more sustainable. It will last a much longer time. It's not renewable. It's the opposite of renewable. Nuclear reactions are extremely difficult, based on my understanding, to reverse. Much harder than the reactions in from combustion, from carbon-based like resources. But yeah, it seems like, if the resources are going to run out in a couple of 100 years or so, the estimates seem to change, then we'll stop using it. And it's good that we became aware along the way that, oh, we're actually affecting the environment. But then it would seem in the long run, carbon levels should eventually settle back down. It might take thousands of years or longer. But anyway, yeah, so I'll leave it there. I think it's a really good series. You should watch it. It's entertaining, especially just the visuals. The music is kind of grand. I still feel like there could be even better visuals. Just uh, what is it? Just sometimes the way they show the vistas. I wish they would even travel a bit longer. This is a big pet peeve I actually have. Is there'll be a lot of shows, a lot of movies that show these profound views, but they'll either be from really far away, like you just see all of Earth, or moderate distance, where you get this big vista, or close up and you see, specific animals and stuff. You never get a transition. That's what I'd like to see more of, is like, when you do see that in a movie, it always fades and it jumps. And it, it's like it'll zoom in and then jump to this view, then jump to the next one. You rarely get a continuous. So I would like it if they were at like a lot, maybe even close up, as the animals try to sort of zoom out, pan out, move quite a big distance. While they could be commentating, they could be giving different facts. So keep it just one continuous shot, like a helicopter shot. Go all the way across to some other place. Just get it go up as well, so you can feel how huge this area is. Come down to another area, and then move in gradual until you're close up and see some other group of animals and what they're doing. I just think that would be like amazing, and they don't ever do that. And it's just, I'm aware of this sort of. There's the big shots, the medium, but the little, and you never get the connection. Anyway, that's something to make it even better. All right. Bye for now.